This Week in Richmond is made possible in part by Dignity Memorial, caring for our communities with a network of funeral homes and cemeteries in Virginia and throughout North America. More information about Dignity Memorial's providers is online at dignitymemorial.com. The Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the voice of the Virginia business community, working in legislative, regulatory, and political arenas to promote the free enterprise system. Information at vachamber.com. Virginia hospitals and health systems provide jobs. They support our economy and promote public health. Local hospitals are always open to help people with unexpected health needs. Having a stable healthcare network is vital. Virginia hospitals are our lifeline.
I just received a letter from a student who thanked me for instilling the love of math in him. That's why I teach.
Brought to you by the Virginia Education Association, because a good education is good for everybody.
Additional support is provided by these sponsors. And by the members of Virginia's public television stations. Thank you.
Welcome to This Week in Richmond, and a very special welcome to the two people from the Information Communication Services Office at the Capitol. Jay Pearson, the director, Tami Carsillo, the specialist in that office. And Jay, some folks are used to seeing you if they are either in the gallery or watching on one of the monitors, or if they pull it up on their computers, carrying a mace in at the beginning of the House sessions. But we'll save some of that for a later time, but really to talk about what happens in this information office. For some of the old timers who may be watching, they remember Carmela Bills, and you worked with her, Carmela Bills Putney now. And the work that you do, so important to what happens here around the Capitol, but it's more than that. It's a Capitol classroom that really helps people around the Commonwealth. So start off by just telling us a little bit about what you do, then we're going to start putting some things up on the screen in just a moment.
Okay. Well, Capitol Classroom is where the teachers and students can go for legislative information. It's all age appropriate. One of the things that we do concentrate on in the office, we've had this ongoing program for years and years, and it's grown over the years, is the House of Delegates Chamber Presentation Program. And that's when students are actually they're in school and they come to the Capitol and they actually come to the chamber, sit in a delegate's desk, listen to an hour-long program about how a bill becomes a law, and they get to vote on a mock bill that we have here. We pick a delegate, we pick a speaker, we pick a clerk. The rest of them have the opportunity to debate the bill, and then they get to vote on the bill. That's usually an hour-long program, and it usually goes counterpart with the actual Capitol tour as well sometimes. But we average thousands of those students come through those doors a year, and the Capitol Classroom kind of goes with that, because the teachers can pull off lesson plans and publications that they can pull off there for in the classroom. Also, one of the things to feature on there is also the virtual tour. We have some schools that can't travel for budgeting reasons.
Sure.
And we've heard over the years that what they've done with the Capitol renovations and as well as the updated website, they'll go to the virtual tour. And it's also in the Capitol Classroom website. They can go to that website and they can pull it up and they can navigate through the Capitol and all the rooms in that way. If they can't come to the Capitol can come to them. So that's one of the key things on the Capitol Classroom website that we do have out there for the students as well as anybody in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Now, when you talked about those kind of mock sessions, you left out one very important office. Do you elect someone to be the Sergeant of Arms?
We don't.
That's another part of your...
Very good question, David. I wish we had time to do that. But we do explain, because students were asked, what goes in that holder? And I'll say, sometimes they'll know more before they come in sometimes because they've been on the tour and they've seen the mace and kind of let them give me a little history about it. But mainly I concentrate more on the program, but they do question that, what goes in that holder? And I'll say, what does go in that holder? And they'll go, oh, the mace. So I said, this is where it goes. So,
yes. Yeah. Well, we want to put the web a dress up, if it hasn't been up already, to get it up for the Capitol Classroom. And then we have a screenshot also that shows when someone clicks on the very first place they click, we'll be able to see. And in fact, I'm glancing over to look at the monitor because we'll be able to see it here in the studio of what someone sees when they go on that site, because it's there right now. It's unless someone's watching on a really big screen TV, you might not be able to see it that clearly, but you got 7 different options that come up on the screen, and we're going to talk more about some of those. And maybe you got us into the one on the civics programs, but Tami, anything you want to add about the civics programs? I heard you say lesson plans and all too.
Yes, we do offer lesson plans for teachers, mostly on the state symbols. We also have the ability for teachers to send us lesson plans that maybe they've tried and worked in the classroom.
Nice.
And we're happy to post them on the website as well for them. Also with the civics programs, it's not just what goes on here at the Capitol, but it's also civic programs across the Commonwealth. And we like to break it down between elementary, middle, high school, and even college level as well, because there are so many possibilities for engagement, anywhere from pre-K all the way up. And so we like to kind of put that mix on the website for them to see. So maybe they're in middle school and they're interested in the PAGE program, and so they can look at that. Or maybe they're in middle school and they're interested in something when they start high school, and so they can see the different civic programs that they can engage with.
Now, civics programs around the Commonwealth, that's intriguing. Is that something like, is it Monticello, or what goes up that's around the Commonwealth? Is it some of the homes of presidents, or?
Well, it's mostly like Girls State and Boys State.
Oh, okay. Those
programs
special,
such as that.
yes.
The YMCA, Model General Assembly, Project Citizen. So some of the more long-term established programs that really offer for a large amount of students to participate in.
Right. Now, another program that you mentioned that we definitely want to promote, not that it fails to have a number of applicants.
Few people know about
it. It makes the speaker's job much more difficult if we encourage more people to apply. But tell us some about the House Page program, and then is it in that civics block where there's a link that they can apply, or tell them where they can apply too? So, Jay, Tami?
I'll start off. It's an ongoing program we've had for years, and again, it's really grown. The application just went live as of August the 1st.
Yeah, so it's
so we've got anxious students from Virginia and parents calling, want to know how to find out. We get a lot of repeat customers from the same schools. We get siblings that come in, but the application process does go through the speaker's office, and then once the speaker makes his appointments, usually around the holidays. Then the folders are turned over to the Information Communications Office, to the clerk's office. And then Tami and myself, we work very closely with the pages as soon as they are appointed. And then it's a great program. They move in the Sunday before we start session. They do all-day orientation in the chamber. Tami and myself, we talk to them as well as the clerk of the House. And they also listen to other staff that they'll be working with through the time that they're a page. The parents drop them off at the Omni with the supervisors. They check in, and it starts their time at the House of Delegates as part of the clerk staff. So.
And if families are interested in finding out more information, once they're on the homepage of Capitol Classroom, they would go to the middle school tab, and there's a drop down, and there's a page program link, and that explains both the House and the Senate page programs. One of the great things we've done in coordinating with the Senate is we've kind of synced up our date, so we both applications open the same day and they close the same day, so that's helpful for families, but all the instructions are on that middle school tab.
And is the closing date toward the end of September?
The closing date for the 2017 legislative session, the closing date is October, I believe it's either October 16th or 17th. It's that Monday.
Time to get it in.
Yes, because one of the requirements is to have their schools sign off, so the teachers, principals. So sometimes, once the school year starts, then they really start getting all their application materials together. And it is an online-only application now, which has made it a lot easier for more students to apply. And I will say one thing. Even though it is much, much more work for the speaker, it's probably one of his most favorite things to do.
Yes.
I mean, he really, really loves
Well, we want him
reading.
to have even more fun
Yes.
with more applicants, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
There are members of the legislature who served as pages.
Mm-hmm.
There are legislative assistants who
Yes.
served.
Staff.
The staff who served.
Yes.
There are some of us, and I would be one among that number, who got my start here because my daughter was a page in the house. And from her being a page in the house, I said, And so the next year, I was too old to qualify as a page, but the next year started working here at Capitol Square. So that's an interesting way that people get started by starting at that very early age. And while it is very competitive, people shouldn't be shy about applying.
Exactly.
We have some bright, talented students in Virginia
yes.
that come through the PAGE program. And it's just to see their applications and to talk to them when they actually get appointed of all the, the things that they do in school and outside of school. We have some bright, talented students in Virginia that apply that work with us. So it's nice to see them grow over the years, and they come back to say hello and thank you for the opportunity. So it's nice to see them and what they've done to accomplish their success in life. So, yeah.
Well, on that Capitol Classrooms screenshot and on the page, there's something that's very intriguing. If someone was able to make out the letters as they were looking at it, it looks like splat.
Yes.
And what would they find inside of that?
Well, that's our fun name for, like symbols, puzzles, and legislative activities. So it was fun coming up with that acronym.
Right.
But that's kind of like a little fun game area where we have a lot of activities, puzzles, and one of the great things we wanted to make sure happened is that it's all downloadable. So it's not something that you just have to do on the computer screen. So it's activities you can kind of download and just try at will, which is really fun. So there's all just different types of activities for different age levels as well.
Well, and certainly you've seen the transition and the change, because when you started working with Carmela in that capacity, there was maybe handing things out and printing out. You probably don't need to do nearly as much printing now, maybe, as you did back then.
Right, with technology, it's come a long way.
Yes.
And as we're talking about the Capitol Classroom website, all that's available out there, but we also do have publications in the office, and they're also downloadable online. But we have them in the office for people that might be visitors that stop by, or schools will order publications for the classroom. So we still do offering the publications in paper form as well, that way materials, but also it's available online. So it's another good way we reach out to teachers. And teachers will go to conferences as well. And we've sent publications to conferences, and they've gotten word of mouth that way of all the publications that we do offer. And they say, oh, we're at this great conference, and we got a activity or coloring book. Can I get more? Well, sure you can.
Right.
So they enjoy those in the classroom as well. So.
Well, there's one other of those boxes on the main page that says resources, and it's just loaded with all kinds of good information.
Yeah, we really spent a lot of time working on, trying to do as much as possible for, not just only students. I mean, it's just not meant for kids at heart as well. So anyone can go on there and just find so much information about the Capitol and the legislature and who their legislators are and where they live, and even just basic information about them, and then also how to book a tour if you want to come visit, and how to book a chamber presentation. So there's just a lot of resources. We like to think of it as a one-stop shop. For anyone, and not just citizens of the Commonwealth, but anyone. I mean, we've had requests from other countries for some of our information, which has been fun. We had a gentleman from Belgium who was interested in some of our information, so we were showing him where to find some of the PDFs and items. So that's really interesting. And also, schools around the country study other states. So if you're in California, someone may pick Virginia as their state, and they will send us a handwritten letter requesting materials on Virginia, and so we send them materials as well. So it's, we're kind of everywhere. We try to be.
Do you have any idea of how many unique hits you get on that? Do they do any counting for you on that? Because I would imagine it's got to be, perhaps along with tourism, the two state sites that really get the traffic.
Especially a lot more traffic during session, because people trying to find information about coming to the Capitol to visit. So you get a lot of more traffic on the website more during session we're in, but also during the year, especially as we've been saying, especially when the teachers go back and the students go back. The hits on the website grow.
So the virtual tour, if someone's taking the actual tour here, they can be told, well, it's approximately this amount of time. If someone is saying, well, the virtual tour, is that a half-hour tour? Is it more or less, depending on how quickly someone clicks through? Or?
Well, the virtual tour is pretty self-guided, so you may have a specific interest on maybe just the rotunda in the Capitol.
okay.
You want to see the Udon statue of George Washington. And so you can actually just pick that specific floor on the virtual tour, and then it will give you, and there's little stars that you can click on, little icons, and that will take you around, and so it spins around the room. So it kind of, you would click on the statue of George Washington, and then another window would open and drop down, and so it would give you some historical information on that. Some people are interested on the grounds. A virtual tour also does that, so some may be interested in some of, maybe the Poe statue on the grounds, and so they can click on that. Yet I will say one of the wonderful features I think on the virtual tour is also, I'm also a teacher by profession, is that for Virginia educators, we have all of the SOLs attached to the entire virtual tour. So teachers can download a PDF, and it will give you every single SOL that applies
excellent.
Inside and outside of the Capitol. And then also when you spin around in any of the rooms and you click on one of the icons, drop down, it will actually at the bottom also give you the SOL that is attached to that. So we're finding teachers that comment back to us say that they're using it as maybe as a precursor to a visit, or even after, or as part of a lesson, as Jay said, if they can't come. So it has multiple
fantastic.
uses.
That is. Obviously, from my questions, I have not taken the virtual tour, but I'm going to take it because it sounds most intriguing. I've taken the physical one, but I think to take that, the virtual tour, and so it doesn't have to be a sleepless night. It could be any time that you want to really.
And there is video and audio with the virtual tour, as well as still images.
Excellent.
And everything that we do offers free.
Yes,
It's free to the individuals in Virginia and as well as outside. But yeah.
Right. Well, when we first started talking about this show, and one of the reasons I wanted you all on was to talk about the emblems of the Commonwealth. And then we realized there was so much more. But we're going to, let's shift over to the emblems of the Commonwealth. And we're going to, in just a moment, we'll be seeing them come up on the screen. And we'll have you just say a little bit about them. There's a fantastic poster that I picked up in your office that has those emblems. And I think that, interesting, over the years, other emblems have been added. Probably most of our viewers could tell us what the state flower is, and maybe the state tree as well. But probably most everyone is going to see an emblem showing up, and they'll not know what it is. Okay, they're coming up on the screen, so Tami or Jay, either one of you say a word or two about them, and we'll move through all of these, and they find these on your site. So we're going to. They don't have to go to the website right now. They can just watch the TV show. Okay, what are we seeing?
Well, this is not only the state tree, but also the state flower, which is the American dogwood. So I'm sure that one's familiar to a large number of people. Even if they don't know the name of it, I'm sure they've seen it.
Right.
I hope everyone knows
That's
this one.
That's another.
I do hope they know this one. This is the state bird, which is the northern cardinal.
Okay. Now, this hasn't been an emblem too long, has it? It's been...
Well, this is our state insect, very colorful, and this is the tiger swallowtail butterfly.
Tiger swallowtail. That's beautiful.
And this is our state fish. It's the freshwater and a saltwater. The brook trout and the striped bass.
Okay.
And this is the state boat, which is the Chesapeake Bay Dead Rise.
Yeah.
And this is one of our newly voted on emblems of Commonwealth's past 2016 session, and that's the our snake, and that's the Eastern Garter snake.
The newest member to the
The newest state
newest
emblem.
member. And this is the state fossil, and this is the, I can never say it correctly, it's the Chesapecten jeffersonius.
So it's a fossil.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yes. Ah.
Of course, this is our state dog, and it's the American foxhound.
Easy one. I mean, we have the flower on the side, but the center is the state beverage, which is milk.
This is also one of our new emblems of the Commonwealth, and that's the Nelson Knight.
Yeah,
State rock.
back up to that one again, and let's see it again. Oh,
And it's from Central Virginia, from Nelson County.
interesting.
And this is the state shell, which is the oyster shell. And I'm sure if anyone has visited, say, Colonial Williamsburg, and they've walked among the crushed shells, it may feel familiar.
And this is our state dance.
Or our folk dance, which
dance,
is
yes,
square
square
dancing.
dancing.
Yes.
And yes, we do have a bat. It's the Virginia big-eared bat.
Oh.
He's very cute.
So all of those are found on that spot where it says emblems, state emblems.
Yes,
Okay.
and they come in sizes where you can even look at them on the screen or download them as well if you'd like.
Oh, very nice. Well, is there something else on that screen that we were seeing of the other, and any of those other boxes that we ought to talk about some as well?
We it's not just the Capital Classroom. We have other resources that we post on the website from other sites in Virginia, and out of Virginia, and also other programs that we've been talking about, like Boy State, like General Assembly. That's also out in there in the Capital Classroom that the students and teachers can find out more information about the additional program, and not necessarily here at our Capitol, but also from all over Virginia. That these other opportunities that are there. We kind of connect with that way with other places in Virginia.
And I think something for everyone also to know on it is that if they look at the top, they'll see headers for elementary, middle, and high school. And what we've done
Yes.
is, which is
Excellent.
very helpful, so
Yes.
not only for teachers, but for families as well, and for students. So if you go to, say, elementary school, you would get a drop down, and it would give you information or link to how a bill becomes a law, and pocket glossary, which is vocabulary. And so then if you clicked on middle and then high school, it would give you the same drop downs, but they're at the age appropriate levels as well.
Oh, that's such valuable resources, and I'm sure that it's used probably in every classroom around the Commonwealth.
We hope so.
Yes, yes.
And again, it's the tab that you're seeing there. It's very it's around the home page, so you can see on the left-hand side it's Capital Classroom, and it takes you to the screen that's on the monitor.
Okay. Well, Sergeant Jay Pearson, let's give them a teaser before this show ends, and,
Okay.
and we'll be looking for more about this. Or there's probably something on one of the sites about the mace
It's
too.
out there, yes, I'm about the mace. It's quite the honor. I am the Sergeant at Arms for the Virginia House of Delegates. Not many people know this, but I am elected by the body. And when I'm recognized at 12 noon when the gavel goes down, I'm standing back of the chamber with my white gloves on. And Mr. Speaker hits the gavel down with the Sergeant at Arms. I walk down the aisle. The House is now in session. All persons not entitled to privileges on the floor, please retire to the gallery. I turn around and place the mace there, which means the official business of the House can begin for the day. And usually about 10 to 15 minutes after session adjourns, I'll put it back in the case in the old House chamber for tours. And it stays on a lock and key until the next day we're in session. And this time of year we're not in session, it's there for tours throughout the year. So.
And that has some real history behind it.
Yeah, some real history too, yes sir.
It
dates
does.
back to 1700.
Yes.
So it's quite the honor to carry it down the aisle. Not necessarily during session, but also when we have any special events that we have in the chamber. When the Queen was in there, when the governor speaks, the mace is placed there as well. So it's not just for session use, but also for any other special occasions, visitors we might have at the Capitol through the years. So.
We'll not say anything that's all derogatory about the other chamber, but if one goes to the Senate, there's not something comparable there.
Correct. They do have a Sergeant at Arms in the Senate, but he does not.
No mace.
No mace for him. Our duties are shared duties. We pretty much monitor the galleries and the House
Yes.
floor and making sure, I'm carrying the mason, but also, you know, I have duties as well.
Yes.
A lot of times, people don't know that. I just don't sit at that desk.
Right.
You know, I'm making
Right.
sure, you know, as they say, I'm running the back of the chamber with that. You know, they see me carry the mason, what actually do you do? So,
Jay, Tami, thank you both so much for being on This Week in Richmond.
thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
This Week in Richmond is made possible in part by Dignity Memorial, caring for our communities with a network of funeral homes and cemeteries in Virginia and throughout North America. More information about Dignity Memorial's providers is online at dignitymemorial.com. The Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the voice of the Virginia business community. For jobs, the economy, and public health, Virginia Hospitals, our lifeline.
The Virginia Education Association, because a good education is good for everybody.
Additional support is provided by these sponsors. And by the members of Virginia's public television stations. Thank you.